Welcome to Dear Dilemma, where you send in your dilemmas and we answer them. Do you need an outside perspective?
Advice anonymously?
We're here to help. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Dear Dilemma.
Welcome back to Dear Dilemma. On today's episode, topic, Cheater, Cheater, Pumpkin Eater. Here's our first submission.
So, the writer says, Dear Dilemma, I cheated on my boyfriend and came clean. I went to a bachelorette party in a different city, and my boyfriend and I weren't in the best place before I left. I ended up getting really drunk and made out with another guy. I felt so guilty when I got home. I knew I had to do the right thing. I came clean and told him what I did. The weird thing is, he didn't really seem to be that upset. I perfectly intended for him to blow up, get mad at me, and us break up. He hugged me crying and told me that we all make mistakes and that we could work through it. I almost feel worse now that I told him because I'm questioning why he was so cool and calm about it. Does that mean he's maybe cheated on me and I made him feel better about what he's done? Signed, Cheated to Find Out a Cheater.
Well, in my book, once a cheater, always a cheater. And just personal experience, like high school relationships and whatnot, it's a no for me. But it's interesting to, like, how they let the person know, and then that person was like, oh, no, it's like, well, it's fine. We can
Well,
work
they
this.
weren't, like, fazed by it. Like, I would be pretty mad, obviously.
Oh,
I would flip out.
Livid.
Yeah.
I would be livid. But the older that I've got to, I think I would be livid, like, more, like, in
Like your younger
years,
Yeah.
like high school, college, maybe. But the older I get, I think now I just don't have the time for it. So, like, if my significant other cheated, I'd be like, all right, we're done. Like, yeah, it's going to hurt and I'm going to go off, but it's like,
Right.
that's just me personally. I always say it's the Scorpio.
But I also think you, like, know your self-worth. I think
Yeah.
us being in our 30s now, you
Yeah.
just learn to move
I don't have
on.
the time.
But holy cannoli, that's a lot to deal
Yeah.
with. So
you go to a bachelorette party.
she gets really drunk.
She gets drunk. She makes out with another guy. Feels bad, obviously, as we do.
And I want to commend her, actually, for doing the right thing. Because
Yeah.
I think some
Yeah.
people would just cheat and be like, oh, I was really drunk. I'm not going to talk
Blame
about
it
it.
on, not take accountability.
Yeah. So
100%.
kudos to the girl here in this
Yeah.
story.
And then her man,
That's so weird to me.
I think he cheated.
I think he cheated too, because why was he so cool about it?
Yeah.
I feel like if he hadn't done anything that made him
Yeah.
feel guilty, then I think she's right. Like, I don't think that...
Like, did he... Because I guess it depends, too, on, like, how old this person is and their situation and everything, too. But most men, maybe, I feel like, would maybe flip out. Like, I think men are a lot more... And maybe this is stereotypical, I should say this. But I think men are a lot more, like, they will hide it until they die. Like,
Yeah.
they will take it to the grave. Or they don't think it's that big of a deal. Whereas women, like, it just... You have that guilty conscience
Yeah.
on you the whole time.
It, like, eats them up.
And also, like, I want to know this bachelorette party.
I
How did it go?
Well, I also think that if he really cared about her, too, wouldn't he be worried about her safety? Like, oh, you were drunk. Like,
Yeah.
that's not good. I don't know.
Oh, here's what I think. If it were me, and this is my advice to you, and that was my person's reaction, it would definitely make me question if they're not cheating themselves. And also, girl, are you going through his phone? Like, are we doing as he goes to bed? Like, something's up.
Yeah. And I think your intuition, just a woman's intuition in general, you kind of know when something's off. And if you're feeling that way right now after you told him, I kind of feel like you should go with your gut on this.
Yeah.
But
we got into this, my person and I, we got into the intuition thing with, like, your life number. Have you ever done the life
I've heard about
number?
it, but I don't really know a lot
So I
about
did
it.
the life number, and mine is, says, like, I'm really intuitive on my thoughts. And back in high school, I'd been cheated on, and I knew, like, before I was even told, I had this gut feeling. Had Hannah and I been friends back then, she would have been called ASAP. I had this gut feeling, like, something's gonna, either he's gonna do it or he's already done it. And I just had this feeling, and finally, like, a couple weeks later, I get told, like, hey, this happened. And I'm like, you're kidding. No, there's no way. And then of course, like, it came about that it happened, and I was devastated. Because in high school, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to, be with them forever, whatever. Now, I would be like, bye. Like, peace out. But it's weird how you have that intuition, and that makes me want to ask her, like, do you have that gut feeling? Are you getting that gut feeling that, okay, I know I did it, but, like, has he been acting up? Has he been coming home late? Is he leaving early? Like, is he kind of be more secretive on his phone, always on him? Like,
is he out with his friends a lot? Is he spending a lot of time away from home?
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys drop some comments?
Below.
Let her know what you would do in this situation, and maybe if you've had also some similar situations.
And I've known people that have been in marriages, even, and I mean relationships to marriages, where either them or their person had cheated, and they were able to work through it and get through it, and they're stronger than ever. So it's not saying you need to break up with him or any of that point, but I definitely think you need to get down to there is something else going on, or he's just a really, really understanding guy, which is very rare.
On the flip side, he could just be like a super cool, calm, collected dude that's like, okay, I understand you were drunk, you were out with your girls, like, that's not okay. Did it say how long they've
been together?
I don't think it did.
That could be another factor, too. Like, if you've been together a really long time and he understands, or if you've been together maybe under a year or two, then it's kind of questionable. Yeah. So, girl, this one's up to you, but if it were me, I would definitely be questioning things.
Oh, yeah.
And kudos to you, though, for definitely, taking the acknowledgement of what you did wrong and owning up to. Because that's probably really hard, too. I mean, that's another gut-wrenching feeling, like, oh my gosh, I'm about to tell them this. Are they going to, like, how is their reaction going to be? Are they going to leave me? And
well, she said, I immediately thought he was going to blow up and break up with me, or that they were going to break up. Yeah. So she's almost surprised, I think, that he didn't break up with her, and maybe she's just in this kind of, well, is it okay? Is it really okay? Or what's going on? Maybe he did something.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors into it. So let us know what you think, and we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you're still together. If not, things work out the way they work out, and it may be really hard right now, but it's all meant to be for a reason, for sure. So, yeah.
Dear Dilemma, I've been dating this older guy for about 6 months now, and it's getting kind of serious kind of fast, which I don't really feel ready for because he actually was a rebound for me when things started with us. Sorry. He's rebound. All right. His mom was recently diagnosed with cancer. Oh, now I feel bad for laughing. Okay, his mom was recently diagnosed with cancer and has been going through some chemo treatments, which has been really hard on him to watch. He's been drinking and getting drunk a lot lately to cope with his depression about it. Understandable. He seems sort of controlling towards me, and I'm just not happy in the relationship anymore. But every time I've tried to gently allude to that, he threatens... Oh, sorry, I had to take a beat. He threatens that he will commit suicide if I break up with him. That got really dark really fast. I am so sorry. Okay. I want out and I want to move on, but I don't want to be or feel responsible if he actually went through with it. What should I do? Signed, sever or suicide? Whew. That gave me chills.
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. So this situation, the relationship started off, he was just supposed to be a rebound, fun for a few nights probably, and move on, and then it turned into something
like
more.
Some heavy crap. Like this is, but this is kind of what our community building is about. Like this is really heavy stuff that just happens. His mom's dealing with cancer.
Well, not the cancer part. Well, that happens too. But the thrown out of either like you stay with me or I'm going to kill myself is thrown out. I feel like a lot more than what people may admit. Or they've dealt with.
Which isn't okay to put that on somebody else. I mean, that's obviously, like, this person needs therapy. They need to be getting the help that they need. But maybe they're too embarrassed to try to get it.
And no matter how upset you are at a situation or a person that is not obviously agreeing to what you're wanting it to be done or said, or they, went in a relationship but you weren't expecting it, came out of left field, and you're like, no, this is like, you really sometimes truly do feel like, oh my gosh, my life is over. It's never okay to put that or say those words, no matter how upset you are. Those are some like very, very intense, deep words.
That's
as
some
someone
heavy
who's
words.
Like dealt with that whole situation sometimes, that is not cool in my book. Like, you can't take things back.
Right.
Like, even if you don't mean them, you can apologize, but that will always be in that other person's head of either you stay with me or I kill myself. And that does not matter. No matter everything else you're dealing with, like, yeah, you know, yes, his mom obviously is going through a huge life change that we don't know her life expectancy. Like, it's never okay to take that out on your partner.
Yeah.
Or a friend. Like, they're there to support you.
Yeah. And I think they said they've been only dating for 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fresh still, I would say, in my book.
Very fresh.
And
especially when they weren't even supposed to be.
It was kind of still like a rebound. But also she said she's not happy. So I think, you know, my advice, I guess, is that I think regardless of what those heavy words were and what situation he's going through with his mom, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, that's really, it's very sad, but you ultimately are never responsible for someone else's actions. Regardless if you're doing something, I mean, you can't be held responsible whether or not he does
like that whole situation has, like, you're not doing anything against him to say and act the way he is. Like, you're not going and doing whatever, like, I don't know. But also the drinking, too, is another factor. Yeah. So not only is she dealing with...
Mom has cancer.
And then drinking, which can turn into a whole other story.
Plus, and he said kind of like depression, plus him throwing that out. It sounds like there's some pre-existing conditions to this, like prior to when you guys got in that relationship, and it's been exacerbated by all of these external factors of his mom getting cancer now. But
this could be something where it is so fresh, where it's not fair to you to deal with all of that. Like, you don't have to, especially the factor of, like, it's different if it was like, okay, hey, I'm with this guy, his mom just found out he has cancer, or she has cancer, and he's depressed. And not throwing out the suicide thing just yet. Like, he's just depressed. Okay, let's handle it. I'm there for you. But then you have to add on the drinking, depression, and throwing out very serious accusations. That's where it's like, okay, pump the brakes. We've only been together 6 months. Like, I can get out. And also, your happiness is what really matters.
I mean, if they were married, that would be different. Obviously, you've taken vows at that point. You're going to try to show up for your spouse every single day and work through that with your spouse. But they've only been dating for 6 months, and it was kind of a rebound, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think that happened to last a lot longer.
It's kind of a long rebound.
And it happens. It happens. People have been there before. But, yeah, I think our advice for this one, or at least for me on my end, is your happiness matters, and he obviously definitely needs to get the help he needs to handle with, you know, your parent going through cancer, and then also potentially an alcohol addiction on top of depression. I can't say, okay, he's not really going to commit to what he's saying, because we don't know what people are going to do. But I wonder if, too, for her, is this something that she could bring up to, like, someone else in his family to give him a heads up?
That's what I'm wondering. Like,
that can backfire, too.
Yeah.
Or, like,
it could be a tricky situation, but if he has, like, a family, like a sibling or something, maybe that they're close, like, hey, you know, I think that your brother's going through something, and I can't be the one to support him through this. Like, he needs counseling, he needs some help. Yeah. Just giving his family a heads up, I think that's a great idea, actually.
Because before this gets worse, which not saying it could, but it may, not only is the cancer could potentially, with, you know, whatever stage she's in, plus chemo, that's going to get worse on him, on his emotions anyways. And then the drinking could get worse to where things could, like, relationship could get physical, things a lot more verbal abuse. I'm not saying physical abuse, but it could escalate verbal abuse. And I think it's something where it's definitely maybe a time where, like, hey, we need to, like, you need, like, to be with your mom. This is a lot more serious situation. Please go be with her. We just need to take a break and just see where things go.
And if you're not happy, and you've not been happy, it kind of sounds like for maybe a little bit that she's been sitting on this. So First of all, thank you for sharing that with
Yeah.
us, because that's probably really hard on you too, and
Yeah.
you feeling so responsible.
Yeah.
But you're not responsible for his decisions. Ultimately, worst case scenario, he does go through with it. Then
The guilt
will
is
still
be on there.
be there, but you shouldn't feel guilty. Like, I know that's hard to say, but ultimately you never drove him to do that. If you look at like the lead singer for Linkin Park, Chester Bedingfield, is that right? So his wife and him, like, she never knew anything, and he just did it the next day. So
very unexpected.
I feel like people can do that just out of the blue.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's even saying it, honestly, should give you hope, because if he's actually verbalizing it, he hasn't done it yet. Yeah. So, at least it's not that it's just already happened, right? Like, there's a chance for him to get help that he needs. And that has to be so hard. Yeah. And I think if she wasn't already verbalizing how unhappy she is, that I would encourage her to maybe, like, be more there for him. Yeah. But if you've already
been unhappy and then this all came about.
And it sounds like it got really serious really fast and it wasn't really supposed to be. Yeah. So there's also kind of that caveat to it.
We agreed to say, girl, it's time to exit the door and let him get the true help that he needs from his family and be there for his mom right now, is what I would say.
I think so too. And I think just standing by that and being strong in it and saying, I
stand
care
your ground,
about
girl. Stand your ground. I know it's hard and he's going to throw out a ton of things, but I would definitely stand my ground, especially if it was a rebound, you weren't really happy. He was only supposed to stay maybe a night or two, and it ended up into 6 months. Yeah. Like, he's going to go through a lot more intense things unfortunately, with his mom, which we hope that she's doing a lot better. Yeah. But I think it's okay to remove yourself from the situation and maybe reach out to people that are close to him to get him the help that he needs. And then at that point, I don't want to say wash your hands of it, but, like, you can't make yourself feel guilty for anything that happens thereafter. Yeah. Because then that's on him. That's not on you, girl. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So, and followers for this one too. Drop your comments below. Drop your comments. I'd be interested to see what anybody else has to say about this, because specifically mental health is such a large thing in our society. Yeah, and it's getting a lot more light shed on it than it has been ever. So, yeah, let us know. We're in our session. Thank you. And, girl, get your happiness back. Go for you. Email us your Dear Dilemma submissions to deardilemmaofficial@gmail.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok @DearDilemmaOfficial and send us a DM. Because the tea's going to be piping hot and we're ready to sip.